Hi, I'm Bill Donohue, President of the Catholic League. Mike McDonald here. On my left is the Director of Communication, and on my right is Sean Leigh. He's a Policy Analyst. I wrote to Comer, the head of the Representative Comer, head of the House Oversight Committee today, asking him to look into Jeffrey Epstein files for some aspects of his behavior which have not received the kind of attention that they deserve. Most of the attention's been on, and I understand it, the persons who have been raped, men as well as women, on his farms and in his places and his facilities, his resorts. But there's other aspects too that have not been given the proper attention.
Yeah, Bill, you have a lot to unpack here in this letter. A lot of scary stuff that we see not really getting a lot of coverage. I know you talk about multiple elements here in the letter, both stories of mothers having babies snatched from their arms, as well as, elements of genetic engineering. I don't know if you wanted to expand on maybe some of these stories that you've heard.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there in the news, but you have to look for it because most of the attention is on the sexual abuse, particularly of young girls. But it goes way beyond that. You have reports of Ghislaine Maxwell. She's in prison. She's the one who worked with Epstein, of course, his lover. And she would actually take babies from the arms of women as soon as the baby was born. And the question is, what did they do with them? We don't know here at the Catholic League, okay? I'm not sure that the media know themselves. I'm not accusing the media. I'm saying this. There's enough information out there that is disturbing, particularly when you know that this was done at his Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. Why does that matter? It's in the middle of nowhere. They didn't want anybody to know about the baby farm. That's what they called them, all right? And this is all related to the other aspect, which is the genetic engineering aspect of what he was very seriously interested in.
Yeah, and Bill, I'm just going to dive in there on the genetic engineering. That's really concerning here. You have this sort of elite cabal of people, some of the high-ranking people that Stephen Hawking was mentioned, Noam Chomsky was mentioned in the Epstein files, all dealing with the subject of genetic engineering. We were talking a little bit about this last week with the Pope's encyclical, with this sort of prevailing transhumanism, posthumanism in the elite quarters. How disturbing is that, and what evidence, what should we really be concerned about here?
But we know that he sat down with people like Stephen Hawking, which is rather interesting. Hawking said he wanted to get rid of undesirable traits in human beings. The man himself was disabled. He suffered from a neurological disease. He was paralyzed. But he wants to now have the perfect human being. Well, he was an atheist anyhow, so we kind of understood that. Robert Trivers is one of the guys from Rutgers. I've been following him for a number of years. He's a racist. And a lot of these guys, what they wanted to do, Noam Chomsky, the great left-winger from MIT, they wanted to make sure that we can improve black people, because blacks weren't doing well on standardized scores, and so somehow we can kind of make them a better human being. There are racist overtones here. There are Hitlerian overtones on this. This is exactly the kind of genetic engineering that was taking place under Hitler, funded by the Rockefellers. You should know that. So where was Jeffrey Epstein going with this? And to what extent was he going to use the babies to try and create this kind of perfect human being? It's very, very disturbing. We don't know all the answers. But I tell you one thing, Representative Comer and the House Oversight Committee, that's their charge. Now, I know they're looking at dozens of examples in their investigation of abuse, and we want them to continue that. But the baby snatching and the genetic engineering, this is some serious stuff, people, and does not receive the same degree of attention as the sexual abuse of the young girls, which is admittedly horrible. Guys, want to wrap up with anything?
No, I find it unbelievable, like you said, that it's such a lack of coverage on this story. Even as we were looking into the topic, you start to hear some of the stories from these mothers and some of these quotes coming out from the powerful people about what they're looking into on this ranch, and it's really just unbelievable that this isn't something getting talked about more.
But you see, there's no advocate for the people here. Everybody's focusing on things where, maybe kind of a lawsuit of some sort. These things are much more difficult. Mike?
Absolutely. And just to piggyback on some of this, who is going to speak up against the genetic engineering and that type of stuff? I mean, the baby snatching goes hand in hand with it,
right.
But this secularist notion that you can create the perfect person is wrong. And that's why I would encourage anyone watching this to check out our website, catholicleague.org, to read Bill's full letter. It unpacks this stuff a little bit more. We'll have a link in the description below, but definitely check it out because it's disturbing that we're talking about it, the Pope was talking about it, this trend of transhumanism.
Let me just end by saying one thing. There are a lot of podcasts and commentators out there. A lot of them do a very good job. But they don't represent anything. We represent the largest Catholic civil rights organization in the country. And when we write, as I often do, to Washington, to the authorities about a problem, we get the kind of attention that you would expect from the nation's largest Catholic civil rights organization. So we have a different charge here. We're not just part of the chattering class. We want results, and we know what buttons to push. Thank you.